Hi everyone, Michelle Vennard here with Bikram Yoga San Jose, and I'm here with Matt and Sarah Newman.
Hello.
Staff teachers, and we're just sitting here on a lovely day doing what we love to do, which is talk about yoga. Yeah. And we're dissecting, going through a lot of Bikram idioms, some that you hear in the dialogue, and a lot that Bikram says when he's giving lectures or on his CDs and his books, right? And some of the ones that we say in class. And we looked at these, and sometimes we say them, and you might be in class and you're kind of like, what was that? Or you just kind of deny it, or you dismiss it or whatever. But they're full of good information, as simple as they are. And this one being so simple, and actually the essence of Bikram Yoga. And Bikram Yoga is pretty straight up, right? And Sarah, why don't you say what this one is? And this is, by the way, this is a Bikram idiom. It's not anything like we're making up, but it's
cut the bullshit, do the posture.
Are you guys standing up right now, getting ready to do a posture, right?
It's very important.
It is. It is.
Our minds are full of this stuff.
Yeah.
Bullshit.
Yeah.
And some of it seems really important.
Yeah.
It's bullshit when it's getting in your way.
Yeah.
It's getting in your way of who you really are.
Yeah. Yeah, just even talking about the dialogue, right, is even the dialogue kind of cuts the bullshit, right? It goes right to the command and to the action.
Yes.
It doesn't give a lot of conversation about what we're about to do.
Well, I mean, that's
grab your foot, right?
So you can concentrate, you can do it.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the real essence of Hatha Yoga. I mean, Bikram Yoga is a rich traditional Hatha Yoga in the strong tradition of Indian Hatha Yoga. Hatha Yoga is physical yoga.
Yeah.
It's forceful. Hatha, one of the translations of Hatha is about forceful yoga, meaning you're bringing it. You're bringing it, and to the best that you can. I mean, that's going to look different if you're just recovering from an accident versus you're at the peak of your fitness. It's going to look different, but you're bringing it.
Yeah.
And everybody can bring it. The person who was in hospital yesterday can bring it today.
Right.
It just won't look like very much from the outside, but they'll still be bringing it.
Right.
And so just getting past whatever you have in the way to be able to bring it. And again, developing that internal muscle, that fierce fire, that determination.
Here's one of the cut the bullshit, just to elaborate on kind of what we were talking about before, is if you think that you need to be flexible to come here and do yoga, cut that bullshit.
Yes, cut the bullshit. Yes.
If you think you need to be strong, right? And the truth is just what you said, everybody can do it. We were talking about this before. We have a gentleman here who used to practice quite a bit that unfortunately had a major injury with his spinal cord, and literally he would do exactly what he can, even if it meant lifting just his finger up, but trying 100%, giving it all of his effort. And that's what you need to do as you come in, as you are, right?
Exactly. You don't have to be vegan or eat meat or be a certain weight or have studied anything. You just have to come. I was like,
we just say it. You just need to show up. And it sounds so silly, and we're laughing because truly that's why this yoga is so embracing, because it really is for 8 billion people. I mean, it's not. It really, truly is. You just need to come on an empty stomach. It's probably better. But come as you are and just cut. Isn't it great? Kind of refreshing that we cut the bullshit, because then the expectations and the pressure's off. Come on, right?
Well, you think about it. It's like we typically when you give somebody a challenge, what immediately then arises is thoughts that they have about why they can't do it, or why they may only be able to half do it, or why they might be slow at doing it, or something. These thoughts come and they flood into your head. What if you just cut that out? If none of that's there, what is left but anything other than simply take the action? And that's the beauty of this yoga. It isn't about what happens. It isn't about how strong or flexible or how tall or short you are. It's simply about trying. And there's not one person on the planet who can't actually try, no matter what their condition are. We have people who are missing one leg, missing two legs, who do or don't have use of their legs at all. We have people who practice with only one arm. It makes no difference. We have people who are cognitively impaired for this reason or that reason. It doesn't matter. None of it matters. You have arthritis, you're in pain. Well, good for you. Then you've got, in a way you have an advantage, because one of the things you want to focus on, which is to feel better in that regard. So you're going to have to work through that discomfort, and that gives you a focal point. And so in a way that can, your quote unquote disadvantage can become your advantage in your practice.
We have people super fit as well, and people in the middle of the two. all of them getting advantages by having this straightforward approach. Just taking the
and it's funny too, because you go in the room and you really strip down. Doesn't matter your zip code, the car you drive, what clothes you wear, right? We're all sweating. We don't know. There's no hierarchy. We're all in there in the mirror, like trying our best to do our best. The other thing that it does too, when you cut the bullshit too, is you're going to find in your life that you start to cut your own bullshit too. Right? And you start to step forward on stuff, because how many of us put things in the way, which are pretty much distractions, right? From you trying to get from A to B in your life. And I'll tell you, the more that you practice that in the room, where you just get those things out of the way. Maybe they're there. I always think that they're floating around like a silent movie, but I just don't hear the volume, and I just move straight forward into what the action is, right? So that's why this is so powerful. And the other thing too, right, as we were saying before this, the teacher doesn't demonstrate. I love that. I think that's such a brilliant thing, because you can't even look on the podium to sort of see or compare, right? You have to figure it out yourself, which is so great too, which helps you cut the bullshit, because you can't create a scenario, or I can't do that because see, she has flexible hips, right? You can't even you can't even say that. You just have to work with what you have, which is the point. You're a unique human being. Right?
So I've been using an analogy to this saying recently in classes, where I said to people, and I watch people, and some of the people who feel like they're least able to do a posture put the least amount of effort into it. And so I'd say to them, well, if I threw you in the ocean, if you fell overboard from a boat, would you go, I'm not very good at treading water, and drown? Or would you work like crazy to tread water as best as you possibly could until you could be rescued, or you could swim to somewhere you could rescue yourself? Well, of course, there's no debate. You would work like crazy to survive. And so, so in life-threatening situations, the bullshit tends to go out the window, because our survival instincts take over, and suddenly we can do all these amazing things. And then we make up stories about how that was adrenaline or whatever. But it isn't. It's just the lack of bullshit. It's not the presence of adrenaline. It's the lack of bullshit. And we're all very capable when we take the bullshit out of it.
It's funny. It's humbling, and I'm probably being open and vulnerable here too. But I remember too. In my life, a lot of things were given to me. And I had sort of the opposite, where I didn't know. I was a little bit more
kind of thing.
Well, I was probably a little bit more catered to in some aspects, and I came to resent that. I didn't know how much it was hurting me.
Yes.
Right? And I remember the yoga kind of showing me that, right? You get a little, like, you appreciate, but also on the other side, well, wait a minute. That didn't serve me,
Very, very
that's
good
what
point.
the yoga is interesting, how it really helps you do a deep dive,
Well, that's actually a really good point. One of the reasons that we encourage people in the class to work hard, and part of it is cutting the bullshit and learning to cut the bullshit and getting good at cutting the bullshit. But the other thing is that sense of satisfaction you have at the end of the class. That's you. That's not us. I mean, no matter what teacher said anything on the podium, you did it all. You did 100% of it, and it's all you. And it's that satisfaction is priceless. It can't be given to you. It can only be, harnessed by you.
There's another one of Bikram's, the credit goes to you.
The credit goes to you.
Exactly. You say that a lot in class.
It's absolutely the truth.
Yeah, it is really the truth. So, Sarah, maybe you can mention there's three key aspects that, Emmy Cleaves, the late Emmy Cleaves, right, used to, always said about, about really what's involved. And this is kind of along the lines of cut the bullshit, do the posture, because these three things are being asked of you. And if you're not given these three things, then you're not really kind of making the progress that you could be making. So,
yes, these three things, precision. So precision, you have to, so Bikram will say this, 99% right is 100% wrong. Now this isn't encouraging you to be perfect. Perfection, not interesting. The goalpost is always going to change as well, and that's a good thing. So perfection, not interesting. What he's saying is, how you trying? How you trying when you hear the words? How you are trying to deal with those words in your body with your mind. That as precise as possible, according to what you understand today, according to what you can do today, as precise as possible. Then frequency. You have to come a lot. Now you have to come, we say minimum 3 times a week. Minimum is really, it's a good minimum, but it's a minimum. You have to come a lot, and you have to keep repeating. You have to keep repeating that precision. And you have to keep repeating that precision with intensity, with intensity of focus, of concentration, with intensity of physical effort, with intensity. And again, what you can do today, you're 100%. So but you have to make that commitment to be intensely focused on the precision, on the actions, to try exactly how it's designed according to what you can do, not deviating, not letting the bullshit get in the way.
Yeah. Right? Precision, frequency, intensity. I mean, and even in like 5 seconds, those three together change you completely.
Yeah.
Right?
You literally walk out different than you walked in, and the life is different because you take those qualities, you practice them.
Yeah.
Now you practice them. It's not just conscious, it seeps into the unconscious, into the cells. So you walk out and you look at the situation differently.
Yeah, that's a key thing. Do not think that this is logical or cerebral. You just need to come and do this and know that it's going to integrate in you, permeate in you, metabolize in you, right? So, but yeah, if you were to like prescribe, right, 3 actions you could do, those would be
precision, frequency, intensity.
Yeah, and that automatically, right, cuts the bullshit.
Yeah.
And the intensity is really important. I mean, you know, when we say try 100%, we mean the 100% of what's available today. So it's not 100% in an abstract, you know, sort of against an Olympic standard, but the 100% of what you have available today. And so anybody can give that 100%. That's what will make the difference. I mean, we as humans are highly adaptable. We can morph, we can change physically, mentally, emotionally. We're very pliable, but it's only when you bring intensity to a moment and a concentrated direction of focus and a particular technique that the change will happen. And it will happen much, much faster when you bring some intensity to it than if you sort of casually kind of go, I'll just lean into a little bit and maybe something good will happen.
Right.
It's not much is going to happen.
Yeah,
you know,
and you know what, I think too, just to add, and we can end this here, but what you're describing too, and you have to be aware of this, is you're creating your own distraction. Right, and that's not going to get, and you have to know that, like where I create, and I'll know sometimes too when I'm creating a distraction. It's like, wow, I'm in that mood today, you know, right? You know, but you know, that distraction is not cutting. You'll know yourself, like you'll go, geez, I'm creating bullshit here. I'm taking my water too much, I'm sitting down too much, I'm wiping the sweat too much, all those things, right? I'm fumbling with my hair too much, right? You know, all those things. And then you start to get curious. Like, why am I doing that? What am I avoiding, right? You know, so I think it's interesting you mentioned that. It's not to analyze why you're doing it, but just stop doing it. Just to notice, right?
It's like, it doesn't matter. You don't need to go down the rabbit hole of understanding why it happened. Because we're human. I mean, it happens. It's stuff. You know? But practicing noticing it so you can let it go, priceless.
This is all good stuff, you guys. So I want you all, we need for you to cut the bullshit.
And show up and do the posture.
And show up and do the posture. And come and do the yoga. That's what this whole thing is about, for you, to encourage you to stay on. If you're doing the practice, hopefully you learned a little bit more here in your development of your practice. And if you're starting on that journey, keep going, right? And ask us anytime. We just love talking about yoga.
Always.
Always.